Welcome back to the YouTube Mama Meetup podcast. I am Dana Ryan from DanaRyan.tv, and we are here in episode 41. And I am joined by my co-host, Amy, Dreamflight 6000. You want to go ahead and say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
And we are joined today by Courtney from Kyle and Court. Courtney is a longtime YouTuber. I believe she began in 2009, just soon after Amy, and Courtney will let me know if I'm wrong about that. But Courtney has been here with us before in the past on the podcast, but this time I'm really excited to feature her, have her share a little bit about herself and her channel and how she's gotten to where she's at right now. Her YouTube channel has over 10 million total channel views, which is really incredible. Congratulations about that, Courtney. I don't think I've ever said that to you before, but it really is an accomplishment. And as of right now, she has about 25,000 subscribers. So, Courtney, you want to say hello to everybody and let us know how you got started on YouTube? Let's start with that.
All right. Well, thank you first. I'm so happy to be here. And I actually was on YouTube before I started this channel in like January, I think January 5th. I don't remember exactly, 2009. But I was actually on YouTube before then on a different channel, which people don't even know. But so I'd been on YouTube before that. And yeah, I guess I've told this story so many times that it's funny to keep talking about it, but I got started because I was pregnant, and I just decided that I wanted to document the journey, and at the time there was not even a handful. I mean, I can only think of 3 people, and that includes Amy, that were doing the pregnancy vlogs. It just wasn't a thing back then, and you didn't do it for money, and you didn't do it for views. You did it just because, and so that's how I got started. And I was also a little bored because I worked in film and television, and the film market had actually, when the housing market in the United States crashed, the film market took a hit too. So I wasn't finding jobs very often. So I would just sit around, I would substitute teach just so I was doing something, and I was like, we decided to start a family since I wasn't working, and then I was like, I still want to film, even if it's on a very casual, unprofessional level, and so that's how I got started.
So you were in photography first, and was it your Go Team Hail channel? Was that your first channel, or was it it was a different one?
Yeah, and it's not photography. I was actually in film, like videography and things like that.
Okay.
But no, it was a completely different one. It was, I don't even know if I want to say what it was.
You don't have to say it. You don't have to.
I think all that's on that channel is like some family footage of like our dog Jack, and there's footage of the Twilight series Breaking Dawn, their release party.
Oh my gosh.
And so I think that's all that's on there. And so no, it wasn't our Go Team Hill channel, which is at just under 8,000. That was a channel I started secretly because when we were trying
I was mad about that, by the way. You didn't tell me. Someone else told me. I'm like, no, she does not. And yes, she did. And I was like, oh my gosh. Tell the story. Tell the story.
Well, I didn't want to. I was trying to conceive with my son, and I didn't want to do. I wanted to do. They call them TTC videos in the community, and I didn't want to do them where any family or friends would see. And so I started another channel, Go Team Hail, and that's all I did. And I was like, that was that channel. And so then I just always had that channel kind of in the background, and we toyed with for a while putting our daily vlogs on that channel, but it was too much work, so I just came everything back to our main channel. So what I've always called like Kyle and Court is just our main channel. And so yeah, so I kind of have that second channel on the side if I ever want to do something with it. And it's funny because to this day I haven't put anything up on that channel since I want to say late May or early June, and I'll go back and there's still comments all the time, and the number grows, and I'm like, who's still coming to this channel? But it's fun. It's nice. It's nice that people are really supportive, that they'll kind of stick around or join a channel that we're not even active on.
And that's your Go Team Hail. Did you deactivate that original one, or is that still floating out there?
I have no idea. No, it should be floating out there. It's a nickname. It's like a nickname of what that channel is. No, it should still be there. I mean, because it's nothing bad. it's like I said, it was just fun. Like I didn't really, that one truly was just for family. It was like us being like, hey mom, here's a video of our dog Jax. We didn't have kids at the time, or things like that. So more like the more like youthful channel that I didn't do anything with.
Amy?
Sorry, I'm not prepared here.
All right, I'll ask her. Okay, so what was your very first video? So you said when you first started, you had that one channel, so, but nobody really knew about it. So what would you say is sort of your first channel, I guess we'll say, on Go Team Hale? Do you know, or were
you mean on like Kyle and Court on the main channel?
Yeah, when you first started, were you nervous when you first started out, or was it just really natural for you because you were a videographer? Like, how did you, when that very first one, do you remember what it was, or?
Yeah, I do remember. I only remember mainly because I went back to that first video when I was doing a name reveal video for my third child, and I was like, where did I start? So I went back to that video, so I do know what it was, and it was a 5 weeks pregnant video with my daughter that's 6 now. I was 5 weeks pregnant. Yeah, and that was the first one, and I actually was on a job. I was at a convention in San Antonio filming, and that's where I filmed my first video. Was in the hotel room there. And yeah, it was just like I'm pregnant and I want to do these pregnancy vlogs, and because I've seen 2 other people do them, so it like wasn't a thing, and I wasn't really nervous necessarily, but I wasn't maybe as confident as I am now. Not that I'm like super confident, but it feels more natural now. But it didn't feel weird then either. Not as natural as now, but not horribly weird then either. And that was kind of maybe a sign that this was something I was going to enjoy, because even from the first video, it was something where I was kind of like, yeah, this feels right. I like doing this. So.
Were you behind the camera in your job too, or just filming others before you started? When you, as a videographer, were you mostly filming others, not? So
not
I guess
myself.
it was natural. I guess you know what I mean. It was pretty natural for you to start out there. I guess sort of being in that field a little bit.
Yeah. Well, what I did commercially, like how I made a living, was I usually worked as some sort of producer. A lot of times I was a line producer, or they call it a UPM, a unit production manager. And the best way to describe that job is it's like a wedding planner, but for movies or a television shoot, because you're in charge of, you are the one making sure that every department is doing their job. And so it's very stressful. It's a very stressful job, and I kind of started working in that particular role because a lot of people in the field of film and television don't have a college degree, and I did. And so it kind of put me into this, like, people would more, trust me more to be in that role. And so that's what I did a lot commercially. That's how I made money. And then on the side, and I would occasionally act. I don't mind being in front of the camera at all, but being behind the camera is way more exciting to me. And so on the side, I would make my own films. And we've actually, like, some of the films I've made with colleagues and things have actually won some awards. Like, I actually won Best Director in an Austin film competition, which was amazing because I think I was the first woman to do that. And so
I remember that. That must have been when you were doing YouTube.
Yeah, no, wait, was it? No, I think the one where I was a woman. Well, maybe I was. I don't remember, Amy. That's so funny.
I remember you doing skits and stuff. You've done.
Well, yes, I've done it since, but I don't know if that one was. Some of those videos we've shared, and some of them I haven't shared because some of them I can't, because if they're in like a, like a film circuit or something, I might not have the rights, even though I made it. And so, yeah, so I would do that on the side, but those projects didn't really make a lot of money. They were more for the art. But, commercially, I would do, like, I was more of a producer role. And then occasionally I had other jobs. Like, sometimes I would work as a casting director. One time I worked on this really weird, creepy movie. It was like a scary, like, crazy horror movie, and I was I was like the art producer. Like I had to help set up the scenes, and that wasn't my forte. And I was like, why did they hire me for this? So I had to like decorate, scene decorate and do all these things, and it was really fun. I felt like I was trying to decorate somebody's house, but like in a weird way. But it was not what I usually did. But so but whenever you're in the film industry, you wear lots of hats. So.
Yeah, well, since you were in that industry, was this pretty natural for your family? So what, I know Kyle, your husband, is featured prominently in your vlogs as well. So I'm assuming he's totally cool with this whole thing. But how does your whole family feel about you being a YouTuber?
They all love it. They're all super supportive. They think it's the neatest thing, and that's why like all of them except my sister, who's really camera shy and it has nothing to do with YouTube. Like she doesn't even like taking family photos. So besides her, even most of the family's like happy to be in it. Like if you turn the camera on them, they're like, hey, like, and it's so cute. They're all just it's funny because sometimes in this world you'll hear people talk about, oh, well, my family, it's not that they're not supportive, but they don't understand, or all these things. And my family's like, yes, like my father-in-law will find articles about being more successful on YouTube and like send them to me. And
oh my gosh, like that's so sweet.
Yeah, the whole family loves it. Like the whole family thinks it's just a really neat thing to do. Like it's really awesome. It's really wonderful that it can be a thing that is supported. I don't know.
Have they always been that way since the beginning? Have they always been that supportive?
Yeah, they have. I didn't tell them what I was doing for a long time because it was so funny. I wasn't shy or nervous to put it out there to all these people I didn't know, but I was really uncomfortable to let my family watch, like at first. And the best way I can kind of compare that to is if you guys have ever done any kind of performing, even in like a high school level, it was, for me, like I used to do voice and things like that, and so I could sing in front of an audience of people and be only a little nervous. But if I had to sing in front of just my parents, I would have almost like a panic attack. Like I'd get really uncomfortable. So it took me a long time to like let them know what I was doing. And it wasn't because I didn't think they'd be supportive. It was just my own like, this is kind of embarrassing to have them watching. But eventually when you do it as much as I do, it's going to come out. And so, yeah, they were supportive right away. They were just kind of like, oh, that's neat. So that's a thing? Who knew? And it was kind of like that. And so now they're constantly like just, want to know how it's going. And they're proud of however, like any accomplishments within it, big or small, they're proud of it and supportive, and they're always there if we're trying to film something. Like the other night we have a segment called Let's Try, where we do it, my husband and I do it with my sister-in-law and her husband, and we just try things, and it's kind of funny. And while we're filming that, they're always like, we'll take the kids, and like they'll go take them and keep the kids quiet without us having to even ask. Like it's really nice that everyone's so supportive. It makes it, I think, one, more actual doable. It's doable, you know what I mean? Because sometimes if you don't have that support, it's really hard to accomplish what you want to accomplish on YouTube in that kind of way. But two, it's nice just on a personal level to just be in an environment that's that supportive,
So this kind of rolls right into our next question, which is about being successful and feeling successful. At what point in your YouTube journey did you start feeling like, wow, this is going well? Then I'm, start to feel successful, and when was your, I don't know, we call it like your tipping point?
Well, it's funny because you'll hear a lot of YouTube people say this. Whenever you have 10 subscribers, you're really excited, but you're like, can't wait till you get to 20. And when you have 50, you're so excited, and you can't wait till you get to 100. And that just kind of escalates. And that happens even whenever you try not to let it happen. Like I noticed when I felt like when I hit at 10,000 people, I was like, oh my gosh, I thought that was so crazy. And it was hard for me to fathom anything more. Like I felt like that was really big, but then at the same time, all I could think about was like the people that were like even bigger. So I still would think, oh, I'm just like I still think of myself as a really small channel. And even now, I still think I'm like, oh, we're just this little tiny channel. And sometimes some of our friends or other people on YouTube will be like, oh no, you're doing so well, and we're proud of you and we support you. But honestly, for me, I don't even feel like I've hit that tipping point yet. I just don't feel that. I just always feel like we're just this small little channel. And I don't know if I'll always feel like that or if there'll be a point where I will feel like it's a tipping point. But I really haven't reached that point where I feel that way yet. So like at this point, I feel really excited to see
or what do you have, 25,000. That's, to me, that's a huge number. Like, when was there a point that you just like boom, like something happened that you went from maybe 10 to 20, or was there something along the way, or was it just a slow progression, all the way through?
It's been pretty steady for me the whole time. Like, I think every time I was pregnant, it would like bump up like 1,000 people, but other than that, it seems like I know a lot of people, I've noticed that it's like they hit 20 and then all of a sudden they're at 30 really quick.
Or they're at like 50.
Yeah.
I'll look back and like, what? Yeah.
And with us, the only thing that with us, it really has been steady. The only thing I've seen is our views seem to be kind of snowballing. Like, we just hit 10 million and we're already at almost 10.5 million. And I mean, we literally just hit 10 million. And so Kyle and I were like, whoa. So I have noticed like our views have those seem to be, and those are more important in the world of YouTube. So people who are doing YouTube, as much as like your subscriber number matters, it doesn't really. It's not what commercially, like people when they're going to hire you for sponsorships and stuff, they only vaguely look at that number. What they really care about are your views. How many views your individual videos are getting and how many views you have overall. Like, how watchable are you? Because a lot of your audience isn't even going to have an active YouTube account, so they don't subscribe to you even if they support you. So really, views matter more, and so that's what I get more excited about, and that's what kind of I think drives me more. I think it's really easy to get caught up on that subscriber number, and it can make you feel like you're always trying to keep up with the Joneses, because maybe you have a friend who does the same thing and they rush ahead of you all of a sudden, and you're like, well, and it's not that you begrudge them, but it confuses you because you're like, well, what did they do that's different? But the thing is so you could always go that kind of negative way where you feel that way. So I think that's part of why I just make myself step aside from that, and I get excited instead about the view counts because, like I said, they actually matter more in the world of YouTube. And in our situation, that's where I'm seeing, I think, the most success is in our view counts because they are just definitely been snowballing. Like, I was shocked when I went and looked at the number because I had just within the last couple weeks put up a yay, we hit 10 million, and then I went to look and I was like, what? Where are all these people? Like, what are they watching? Like, what is this coming from? And
what are they watching? Is it an old video that picked up? Or
Amy.
Yeah,
what are they watching, Courtney?
As I get my memo pad out. Okay. Tell me your secrets.
I actually pay attention to what I use my analytics daily almost. Like, I will go and check to see what people are interested in. What people are watching, the age groups that people are watching. Like, I've noticed in the YouTube Kids app, people love to watch any videos I have that have dinosaur in the title, like a dinosaur museum.
So you have stuff on kids YouTube?
Yeah, and you don't. That's
how do you get stuff on there?
Like, you probably do too. You just don't know it.
Oh.
It's family safe content that YouTube Kids app does, and it does it on it like naturally. It's not something you pick or choose. But you can go into your analytics and check out where the views are coming from. So, like, I can see that they're coming from the Kids app if you go into, like, analytics. So that's a way you can check. So I know all of my birth vlogs get a ton of views every month.
On the YouTube Kids app? Just kidding.
No.
We talked about the YouTube Kids.
Yeah, no. Those are on the normal one. And then our day in the life vlogs always do well. Like, people, I think the day in the life vlogs, those are the vlogs that, like, the people that I feel like are more friends than just, you know what I mean? Like, the people that they're there for the long haul. They're the people that I recognize them, and so those videos every month do well. And then people like haul videos a lot. I do too, so I guess I get it. But those videos always do well. It's the haul videos, so I try to remember that and, like, share. I didn't do haul videos for a really long time, and then I started doing them, and I was just like, okay, so people like haul videos. This is good to know.
If you really want views, you should do Dollar Tree hauls.
Okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind. So.
Courtney, I wanted to ask you this because I know when I first started watching you, I don't know, 3 years ago or something, when I first got into YouTube, 3.5 years ago, your Kyle and Court channel, you had a lot of sit-down videos, when you were just talking to the camera, and then now I know you went over to Go Team Hale and you were doing daily, but then you moved your daily back to Kyle and Court, and so what's that sort of been like with that transition? I don't know if you did a lot of daily videos, years and years ago, and maybe when that period of time when I had started watching you was mostly the sit down, sort of just, talking to the subscribers sort of video, sort of like what I do. But so making that transition to doing a lot of dailies, are you enjoying that more? Are you finding more success with that? Or can you talk about that decision to kind of move your channel in that direction and what that was like to sort of shift in that way?
Yeah. Well, we're right now, we're in the middle of our 5th year of Day in the Life vlogs. So we've actually been doing that Day in the Life style. I call it Day in the Life instead of daily vlogs because we don't actually do daily anymore. But Day in the Lifestyle. We are in the middle of our 5th year. So that's how long those have been going on. They've actually been going on a long time. And so when I started doing the Day in the Lifestyle, it wasn't, again, it was like the pregnancy vlogs. You just, there was a few big, men YouTubers that had these daily vlogs, but you would see every once in a while, like randomly, kind of someone in our kind of general community that did a day in the life. It just wasn't a thing. So when I did one with my son was a newborn, like I think maybe 7 days old, maybe 14 days old. And it was like, I think the first one I did was a day in the life with a 2-year-old and a newborn, or 24-month-old.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, it's crazy. I remember, wow, because we never saw anything like that.
Yeah.
That was a new thing.
Remember, it wasn't a thing, right?
It wasn't. No one ever did that. Everybody just sat down. It was never a follow me around sort of thing. Yeah.
And so I did that, and it went over really well. To this day, that video gets still viewed and still brings in earnings and views every month. And so I did another one, and then I did more, and then I started doing them 2 days a week, and that was like unheard of in our community. Well,
you did every Monday.
They were Day in the Life Mondays, and then it turned into Day in the Life Monday and Thursday.
Mondays, yeah. Yeah.
And then we were like, let's try doing this daily, or we did it Monday through Friday with the weekend one would be on Monday. And then I went daily for a couple of years, and then we are switched back now to where I just do a few a week, and that's just like a personal thing where I'm like, it was just too much. And then Dana, to kind of wrap to the other channel, when we started doing the daily vlogs on the other channel, it was because those sit-down videos and like review videos and parenting videos and just chit-chat videos, all those videos, people weren't really watching them anymore, and that's how my channel started. And so I didn't like that. I was like, the daily vlogs are overshadowing those, but I also at the same time appreciated my viewers who liked the daily vlogs. So at the time I was with a network, and they were very much like, don't make a second channel. It's a bad idea. You're going to lose revenue. You're going to lose momentum. And so I didn't at first, and then I was like, I don't really care. I think a lot of YouTubers try to be modest and say like, oh, I don't care if we grow or not. And maybe they mean it, maybe they don't. But in our situation, I can honestly say, not just trying to sound, nice about it, but I really didn't care. I was like, I'm doing this for me, and so if it hurts the momentum of our main channel, which it did, they were right, or if it does or we lose some revenue, which we did, I was like, I don't care, because this will allow me to have both, I thought. And it did, except what I didn't take into account was that I'm also a mom of 3 young children. I was homeschooling the 2 oldest, and it was really stressful because a lot of those daily vloggers you see out there, it's like that's what they do for a living, and that's not our situation. It wasn't like this was like a secondary thing, and so we switched to that second channel, and that channel just was like, it just was growing really fast. And so and at first it was growing with people who came over from our main channel, but then I noticed that all these people who didn't even know our main channel existed, so these people were just coming organically, and that channel was growing, and I was like, wow, people really like these daily vlog styles. And that was right around the time when some of these other people that are really big day in the life daily vloggers now were starting. They finally, like, they were starting on their own, and it was just like that kind of genre where the family was doing it, and we weren't just like the Shaytards, where, you know, really what helped the Shaytards take off was like Shay Carl's personality. Like, and again, a guy. Nothing's wrong with that, but you just don't see a female lead daily, like day in the life. You still don't see that. Even with the daily vlog channels that I love, the husbands are still like kind of the ones leading the show. They do most of the editing,
yeah.
and that's still the case. And so, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a bad thing. But I was like, I really did feel like I was like this little like pink fish in this sea of like like blue fish with like their little like spouses that were helping. But again, it was different. It was just different. And so yeah, and so it was because of that I was proud of what we were doing. So it was really hard when I was getting really overwhelmed with too much YouTube, and I had the 2 channels going on, and it was just, so one channel was always suffering, you know. It was like, and then my main channel ended up suffering a lot, and that was like heartbreaking because I'd worked so hard on that channel. And then like personally I was just feeling really overwhelmed, and I'm like, you know, this is crazy that I don't have, my kids aren't in daycare, they don't go to preschool, so I was staying up until 1 in the morning or later every single day. Like, there was never a break because of the daily vlogs, like never a break. And never a break on vacation, never breaks anywhere. And when you did have a break, you felt like you had to explain yourself or say you were sorry. So it got really complicated, and that's why I was like, you know what? It's going to be the same thing. We're probably going to hurt our momentum, and we're going to lose some revenue, but I'm going to switch back. And I'm glad we did. And, you know, I don't regret it. It did hurt our momentum. It really did. And so, like, my network position where we weren't trying to do this for a living, so I had the flexibility to mess up, basically. And on the other hand, you know, a lot of people would say it wasn't a mistake because that other channel, so many lovely people who didn't know about the main channel, and now they do, and vice versa. And so, yeah, that's kind of the story there. That's not a story like I think I've talked a lot about, but that's how all that happened. It's kind of confusing to some people, like, what are you doing? But it was all for personal reasons, why we did it in the first place and why we stopped.
So based on what you just were saying, so you are no longer with a network, is that correct?
Oh, no. And I actually, like, I cannot stress this enough in my experience. And the thing is, too, I think what helped me is that when I did work in film and television, I had to handle a ton of contracts. So I am very up to date, probably more than most YouTubers. I really understand these media contracts on a deep level, on a level where I actually studied them in school and used them practically in real life. And I can tell you guys right now, most networks, it is not a great idea. And I know a lot of people that might offend them. Maybe they're with the network and they're loving it. But in general, networks right now, unless you're a select few for that network, they just don't have the resources, even if they really like your channel, to give you enough to make it what you're paying them out of your revenue worth it. And that's just a bottom line fact. That's not just an opinion. If you actually, you know, I have a cousin who does contract law, and I've actually consulted with him with a bunch of this stuff, and he was like, he said so many of these, and you know, so many of these big networks, some of the ones that have a lot of really big people, and they're these big networks, I'd rather not say their names, they actually get really poor ratings legally. Like they're like if you have a lawyer actually look at the contracts and look at the companies, they're sketchy. Like the lawyers will tell you that. And so that's kind of some advice for YouTubers is, at the moment, networks work as a middle person, and they take part of your income, but it's rare that you see enough back from them to make what they're taking worth it. And like I said, that's not really an opinion, that's a fact. That's something you can research on your own. And you know, a lot of really big YouTubers say the same thing. So it's not just, oh, if you're small, it's not a good idea, but if you're big, it's a good idea. You know, there's countless, you know, really big YouTubers who will tell you the same thing. And it's kind of disappointing. The network I was with, I actually really liked them. They were nice people, really good intentions. And we parted on good terms, but they understood where I was coming from, and they were really honest. Where they were finally like, you know what, you're right. We get what you're saying. You know, they understood. They acknowledged exactly what I'm saying now. They weren't gonna lie, and at first they tried to say like, oh no, stick around, we'll try harder to promote this, or we'll do that. And finally, when I put them on the spot about it, they were like, okay, you're right. And they actually let me out of my contract early, like no problems. They were really nice company. Just networks are kind of in the world of YouTube are a little sketchy, just honestly.
That's really good. I've heard that it's really tough to get out of your contract once you're in it. So that's nice that they let you out. That's really fortunate.
Yeah. And they also, another thing is too, just to put this out there, a lot of networks, when you do leave your contract with them, they will ask you to digitally sign a form saying that you will not discuss the network in a negative light, and that's actually not legally binding. And I know a lot of people, again, that comes with understanding media contracts, and there's things like that go on with networks that make me really uncomfortable, that even intelligent people wouldn't know that something was wrong with that. And the network I was with, they actually asked me to sign one of those. It's standard. They almost all do. And I was like, I'm not signing this. But I think just a person who didn't know, like I said, even an intelligent person would be like, oh, I guess I have to sign this. Because you feel like you're supposed to, but you absolutely do not have to sign things like that. Networks definitely try to take a little bit of the control over things, and it can just be a kind of a tricky, not great area. So
I found that a lot of people are very hesitant to talk about networks publicly, and I've had a lot of private conversations with people about networks, but they never have wanted to speak openly about them. I'm not in one, but thanks for sharing all that. I think that was really candid, and I appreciate that. Yeah. All right, so I wanted to ask you, we were talking about views before, and I know you have one really big, your one video where you have your natural birth has over 1 million views on it, which is just incredible. So I would say that was a viral video. But one of our questions is, if you had to choose, would you rather pick a viral video, or would you choose to collab with a really big YouTuber? And you kind of, I would say, already had a viral video. I don't know how quickly you amassed those 1 million views on that one video that you have, but I don't know what that experience was like for you. Would you have that experience again, or would you rather have a big collab with somebody?
Man, that's a really that's a hard question, because they're both fun. And actually, that video that you're referring to, the original video that I had for it was way more viral, but I actually made that one private because it was a little too personal. And so if that video had still been around, that video got up to 1 million views within like a month. It was ridiculous, and that's why I was like, whoa, nope, that's too much. And so that actually was my real viral video, and I took it down. It's private. But the one you're referring to, it grew at a decent pace. It's kind of actually growing faster now, which is funny because it's been 2 years. But oh man, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think the viral video type of views are nice because, at least in my situation, it's like a nice bit of income every month comes straight from that video. I mean, we're talking like hundreds of dollars, if I'm just going to be candid. I always hate how so many YouTubers don't want to talk about this stuff, but I think why not? We should share, and I think if people didn't hide so much about it, that it would help a lot of people. But yeah, so that video alone pulls in that every month. So that, on that one hand, that's really nice, because that's the type of thing that could help you kind of justify financially the time it takes to you put into YouTube. But on the other hand, doing a collab with a really big YouTuber would be so much fun. I think if it was someone I really enjoyed, that would just be exciting. And it's going to be hit or miss in terms of if that video would help you your channel at all, because you'll see people sometimes do collabs with big YouTubers and their channel doesn't change at all. So you don't really know if it's going to help your channel or not, but if you're doing it just for the fun of it, I almost think, you know, knowing that it might not help at all, but doing it just for the excitement, I maybe would want to do that. Then, you know, maybe I guess if this was like my only income and I needed the bottom line, I'd probably be like viral video, but since it's not, I think I'd enjoy the excitement and like of doing a collab with a big YouTuber, and then, you know, you may see some things from that too, so you have that possibility, so that's there, but it would just be exciting to, you know, do something with someone bigger.
All right, that's a good one. That's one of my favorite questions, actually. All right, so have you ever, you know, I don't know, I know I have, but just plateaued? You know, everybody does, I think. And just got to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, you know, what am I doing? And just, have you ever wanted to just give up, or did you always know, even through the plateaus, that you just want to just keep pushing through it and keep going?
Yes, you know, I would like to say that I never wanted to stop because I try to be positive, but I've definitely had some times where I felt like we were plateauing and I was kind of like, is this worth it? But mainly that's mainly because of how much time I put into it. Like I treat this like a job, and again, I know my channel is just small potatoes compared to a lot of those big YouTubers, but I still, to me, you know, it's worth the effort. So putting in that much time and then you just see like a stall, or if, for example, when we had switched to the daily vlog channel, that channel was growing and that was great, but then the main channel was just kind of like stalling out. I would get like maybe 8, 10 new subscribers a day, and I was just kind of like, and then there are times when I would just be tired, honestly, and it had maybe we were still growing, so it had nothing to do with being in a plateau or feeling like that. But I just would be like, I would think, and I still do occasionally, I'm like, what would I do with my time? I'd have a lot more free time if I wasn't doing YouTube. But I think at the end of the day, I want to do it more than I don't. So even if I have a moment where I'm like, oh, is this worth it? I'm tired, or I want to do this. At the end of the day, the answer is like, yeah, it is worth it to me, because I guess the drive to keep going and the excitement about it always wins out. So I'm passionate about it, and that always like comes to the head. That's always at the top. And so I think that's my answer, is even when I have those moments, I know that an hour later I'll be like, no, you know. I always come back to, yes, I'm going to keep going. So there you go.
So what advice would you give somebody who is just starting out, someone who just created their YouTube channel, they're just starting? What advice would you give them? Maybe a mistake that you made when you first started that you would tell them to not repeat.
Okay, yes, I've definitely made mistakes. I've actually had people, including some big YouTubers, who will have told me like, oh, you're doing it wrong. But these are kind of mistakes that I recognize that I'm doing them, but I don't care enough to stop. And the mistakes that I make, I still do this. I'm still bad about this, although I'm trying to be better, is I'm not very good at promoting our channel. Like, I don't put us out there a lot. I forget to ask people to subscribe to us. I don't put on Facebook every video we do. I'm bad about promoting us, and I would recommend to someone who's really wants it to take off more, promote yourself. If anyone's offended by that, then they're not your audience anyway, because I think, you know, most people, I know with me, I don't care if you have 10 subscribers or you have 1 million, if you're like, hey, if you like what you see, subscribe to your channel, I'm not offended by that. Like, I mean, I think only a weird person would be, and so, or like I said, someone you wouldn't want watching anyway. So I would definitely recommend, don't do what I do, which is not enough. Do it better. Promote yourself better. Always, I've noticed that I think some of these smaller channels that grow big quick, what I've noticed they do, and I'm just uncomfortable doing this, but again, it's one of those things where I'm uncomfortable doing it, but I don't think it's wrong to do it. I think it's good. It just takes a certain kind of person. But is that they kind of act like their channel is bigger than it is from the start, and I don't mean in a pretentious way, because those are a whole other group of people. Those people are annoying, but I'm talking in a very, like, they're just sincerely excited about every level they're at, so they act like, you know, we're a big deal, but again, not in that pretentious way, but in a very, you know, positive way, and I think that pays off. So that would be some advice, is like, you know, just just always just be proud of what's happening and promote your channel. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be weird. Don't be like, oh, it might be annoying, because, again, it might be annoying to a very small handful of people who are probably kind of angry, negative people anyway, who get anything rubs them the wrong way. So let's not worry about those people, because everyone else totally gets it. That's a normal thing to do, and it's a good thing to do. And then the other advice I would have, I see this on a daily basis. Do not play Keeping Up with the Joneses in the world of YouTube. You just do not do it. When we were at VidCon this year, we went to a little meeting with a channel called ASAP Science, and they're a huge science channel where they do these like little quick science videos, and they're really awesome. And they were talking about something I talked about earlier in this podcast, which is that, you know, no matter what level you're at, you always, that level might have seemed like a big deal to you before you got there, but then once you get there, it's so hard not to just start thinking about the next step, and that can really kind of get to you after a while. And so I highly recommend, I see people all the time who have 12 subscribers, and they're like, I only have 12 subscribers, how do I get to 100? And I'm like, whoa, like, just don't worry about that right now. I know that it's hard not to, and of course you want your numbers to grow, but you need to focus on, like, why are you doing this for you? Are you doing this for people who are watching? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you want it to be a business? That's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. But no matter what your reason is, that's what you need to be doing. And if you're always worried because you're not at 100 or 1,000 or 20,000, you're gonna not have as good a time. That's gonna make you miserable. You know, you'll always just feel like you're trying to be better than that. And I think that puts a negative spin on it. And so I would highly recommend, just don't do that. Just, focus on what you're creating and where you want to go, and keep your eye on the prize, and be excited about the numbers, but don't live by those numbers.
Great. That's great advice. I love it. The fake it till you make it. I sort of like you were saying, like when you first start out, even just kind of, if you have that attitude, that positive attitude, that's really nice. And I think actually the community is much more accepting now of self-promotion. I think a couple years ago, at least within our community, it might have been frowned down upon a lot more when you would try to promote yourself, verbally in your videos. Yeah. I felt like I got a lot of heat from that when I first started, 3 or 4 years ago or whatever that was. But I think that now it's much more accepted, to, at the end of your videos be saying, hey, don't forget to subscribe if you're watching. And it's not really, there's not that negative connotation to that like there maybe was several years ago, which is, I think, refreshing. I think it's a nice thing. It
is, because, in any other business that you would do, you're going to promote your business and hope that people come to your business, and that's kind of what this is. Even if you're not doing it from a business point of view, it still is like a business. And, I always kind of roll my eyes at the people who get annoyed at people who do sponsorships or people who ask you to subscribe, because I'm like, you're watching their content and you should be happy for them and supportive that they're doing these things. And I totally get it. Like I said, you do have the handful of YouTubers who are pretentious about it, or who, do promote, they'll have anything they'll sponsor, and I get that. Those people are losing integrity. But that's just a handful. A lot of people like me and you and Amy and everyone else, if someone that we actually enjoy comes to us and we get to promote their product and we actually use it, so we're happy to do it, and it helps us, keep the channel going, that's something that people should, one, support, but two, at the very least, be understanding of. Because, in theory, if you're watching this person's content, in theory, it's because you enjoy what they're doing. And so you would hope that they would continue doing it. And I think that's one thing a lot of people don't understand, too, is that when you're on a certain level, and this isn't a level of popularity, and this is just a level of your content. When you're putting up, a certain number, when you're doing enough content, whether you are a big YouTuber or a small YouTuber, it doesn't matter. It's a lot of work, even if the videos are really simple. It is a lot of work and time, and sometimes, even if you're doing it for the creative love of it, it's still something that having a little bit of that financial, extras come in, or sponsorships or things like that, are what help you justify that time that you're spending doing it. It lets you keep doing it. And so I know in my case that's very true. If I couldn't do this to the degree that I do if we weren't getting something for it, because I just wouldn't be able to justify the time away from my family or housework or even personal time if it wasn't also helping financially as well. And that's, that's not to say that I'm doing it just for that. And as I've already mentioned, like if I was, I would do a better job of promoting us. But it is a realistic part of it. Is I don't think it's fair to expect people to put in 40 hours a week and then get mad at them if they want to sponsor a brand that they like, or if they want to say, hey, if you like my content, subscribe. Like, and you're right, Dana. I think people are finally realizing that this is a good thing. It's a positive thing for the community, all of YouTube, and then our community in particular. It's a positive thing, and it should be viewed as a positive thing. And, when you have that handful of people that are a little pretentious about it, then those are the people you can kind of roll your eyes at. But everyone else, just be like, good for them. This is great. This is great that they're getting that opportunity, and that opportunity is what's allowing them to keep making this content that I'm sitting here and enjoying. So I think, positive. That's what it should be about.
Very well said. Love it. Really well. All right, so the very final question that we have before we wrap it up, it's really a hard question for you, Courtney. And that is, when you are in Hershey this summer at Collab Camp, what kind of chocolate bar will you be selecting at Chocolate World when we go to visit? What's your favorite candy bar?
Okay, my favorite candy bar in general is anything that's like hazelnut, like milk chocolate hazelnut, but that's not something I think Hershey actually makes.
I don't think they do.
My favorite Hershey candy bar, I love just the Hershey with almonds, because that's just a classic. It's delicious. I love the Hershey with the toffee and the almonds. So I'm gonna go with one of those. They're delicious. Like, you can't go wrong. And did you see that Hershey's like changing their chocolate recipe? They're making they're making it natural. Don't worry, they said it's gonna be just as delicious.
They can't change their recipe. I'm having anxiety right now.
You hadn't heard that. Well, don't worry. It's supposed to be the same taste, but they're just trying to take out some of the artificial stuff and make it like.
All right. Well, then that's okay. I think I think that this is sour milk inside the chocolate bars, that it gives it that distinct taste. I read that somewhere, that there's like some kind of sour milk in there, and that's why it tastes like, I don't know, that distinct Hershey taste, and that's what that is. But I love it. I love it.
That sounds natural to me, so that one will probably get left in.
Well, Courtney will be in Hershey, Pennsylvania for the YouTube Mama Meetup Collab Camp in July. You can go and get tickets to meet Courtney in person if you go to collabcamp.com. And of course, Amy and I will be there too. And it's a great opportunity to go and collaborate with other YouTubers. It is a networking event. We're there to meet, to film, to eat, to hang out. It's a really interactive weekend, and we hope that you can join us. But Courtney, it has been such a pleasure having you here with us. I am so grateful to you for sharing everything that you share with us, truly. So please tell everybody where they can go to find you on all of your media sites, including your YouTube channels.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I love being a part of this. This is just so awesome to me, and I cannot wait for the Collab Camp this summer. The one last year in Chicago was amazing. Or not last year, this year still. Almost last year. It's almost the new year. And so, yeah, I'm Courtney from our main channel on YouTube is Kyle and Court. That's the only one you need to worry about. And our social media, we're Kyle and Court everywhere except on Facebook, where we're Go Team Hill. So, yeah, just find us. Come find us. Say hi. Let me know that you found us from here, because that's really fun to know where you guys are coming from.
And Amy, tell everybody where they can go to find you.
Yeah, I'm at Dreamflight 6000 across the board, everywhere.
Excellent. And I am Dana Ryan, and that's Miss Dana Ryan, and you can find me at danaryan.tv. And today, if you are watching this on the YouTube channel, and in the future, you can go to ytmm.tv, and you can find the playlist. We just launched Secret Santa today, so we had over 60 channels participate in a gift swap for the holidays, and so many of us are uploading videos. So if you want to check out that playlist, you can find it on the YouTube Mama Meetup channel, and you can find that, like I said, at ytmm.tv. All right, thank you so much to everybody for listening and for watching us live. If you were doing so, I will check the comments after the Hangout, and we appreciate you, and happy holidays. Okay, bye.
Bye.